In this video, we're going to talk about why Gen Z is saying no to management. And by the end of it, you're going to be ready to get more collaboration and less friction from your Gen Z team members. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about what can make Gen Zers resist or refuse your leadership. We'll also look at what makes them say yes, and I'll give you some specific ways that leaders can help reduce friction when you're trying to get Gen Zers to follow your lead. The first biggest reason why Gen Zers often say no to their leadership is because they feel unsafe. Now, it's important to understand Gen Zers' relationship with employment. And the central orienting point, the North Star of their relationship with employment is a sense of safety. Now, to put this in context, a lot of us who are older don't really relate well to this need for safety, this constant asking for it, especially if it's psychological safety. But you gotta consider the environment they grew up in, right? They've never known life without school shootings. They've never known life without workplace shootings. Most of them have never known life without the 9/11 terrorist attack and the wake of that. They have grown up in definitively unsafe environments. And so that's what drives their need for safety. And as much as it might frustrate others of us, it is the key to understanding how to get more yes and less no from Gen Zers. Because them and every other generation, we work to get the life that we want. And we are not going to say yes to things that go against the core of our relationship with employment, because what it's like to work every day is a major defining factor of what it's like to live our life every day. Next important reason to know why they resist or refuse leadership is that flat out, work just isn't worth what it used to be. So when we as leaders of older generations are saying, but dedicate yourself to your job because it's going to pay off, it's going to be worth it, and you have to have a career, well, let's do a comparison. My mom, classic baby boomer, taught first grade in a public school district for 45 years. Yes, educators, I love you, right? She has a rocking 401k. She has a union. She has a pension. She has lifetime benefits. Like work, the dedication to her career was totally worth it for her. Compare that now when you go to work, especially for a private company, and they say, oh my gosh, we have such a great 401k matching program. We're gonna match up to 6% of what you put in, and you have to work here for 6 years to get that full 6%. That's literally what I mean when I say work isn't worth what it used to be anymore. So when you're trying to motivate them to say yes to you on the basis of dedication to your career will have really powerful payoff, that value proposition, it's just not proven. Next, and this one is a little sensitive, but it's important that we take a look at it. For many Gen Zers, work is the villain of their childhood. Couple reasons why. For many Gen Zers who had parents that were Gen Xers especially, devotion and dedication to career often caused their families to split up. Now, I'm not making a comment on whether people should work or not. I support everybody working exactly the way they want to. But this is the reality for some Gen Zers. The other thing to note is that, again, school shootings have been a regular part of their life. The threat of lethal physical violence at school is a daily consideration for Gen Zers and their parents. So the message to them for a lot of it was, you have to go to school because mom and dad have to go to work. That message sunk in, and that's impacted their relationship with employment. Next, and a really big one, often there's values misalignment between what your organization does or stands for or supports and what a Gen Zer individually, personally cares about in their own life. Something you gotta know about Gen Zers, they will not tolerate values misalignment. They are incredibly socially conscious. They care deeply about the impact they have on the world and that others have on the world. And when there is that values misalignment, you can't get around it. And to be frank, my best recommendation in that situation is if you discover that deep values misalignment, supportively and proactively help them find another employer that does align with their values, because they're not going to be happy, you're not going to be happy. It's better for everybody if you separate and move on. And this one, I love this one so much. For us as leaders, it's so effective in getting more yes and less no from Gen Zers when we lead with curiosity and not with judgment. Few reasons for this. First of all, people know when they're being judged. They don't have to hear you say that you think what they want and need is silly or useless or annoying. They're going to feel it in your energy. They're going to feel it in how you relate to them. But they also might hear you say it because honestly, I constantly hear leaders of older generations openly mock and deride Gen Zers in the workplace. There is no business logic to support that being a good idea. Also, it might actually be a violation of HR policy, and everyone should take that seriously. So, when you lead with curiosity, you are prioritizing that person's experience, what they care about. And the way that humans are, everybody's favorite topic is themselves. So if you want to talk about me, and if you want to focus on me and what I care about, and show curiosity about my life, you are going to have a much clearer path to getting my best work out of me. This is true for Gen Zers as well. It's really important to know that when we lead with curiosity, rather than judgment, we get so much more yes and so much less no. I'm so glad we got to talk about this because it is really important. And if you are intrigued and you're like, great, this is really fantastic, what about the other generations, right? I'm leading them too, or also I'm one of them too. You can go to the link that's right below here on the screen. That's going to take you to my video on how to engage a multi-generational workforce. It is full of really powerful, really useful insights and tactics on how to make the most of this collision of these 4 generations we have right now in the adult-aged workforce. See you there.